असतो मा सद्गमय तमसो मा ज्योतिर्गमय मृत्योर्मा अमृतं गमय। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। Oh, may the divine lead us from the unreal to the real, from darkness to light, from death to immortality. Om, peace, peace, peace.
No one has ever seen such a vision that baby Krishna playing on the lap of Mother Chandramani. Village of Kamarpukur has been sanctified by the divine advent of Gadadhar. Many suffering beings are liberated by seeing such a scene. Sri Narayan came in disguise form, so no one could recognize him. And along came Mother Lakshmi in form of Sharada Ma. The word spread all over of this amazing divine play, a prayer offering to Sri Ramakrishna. देखी नहीं ऐसी लीला नहीं, देखी रे भाई, देखी नहीं ऐसी लीला नहीं, देखी रे भाई। चंद्रमणि मैया जी की गोद में खेले कान्हाई, चंद्रमणि मैया जी की गोद में खेले कान्हाई। देखी नहीं ऐसी लीला नहीं, देखी रे भाई। कामरपुकुर धन्य हुआ रे गदाधर के आगमन से, कामरपुकुर धन्य हुआ रे गदाधर के आगमन से। पार हुए पापी तापी मानव रूपी हरि दर्शन से, पार हुए पापी तापी मानव रूपी हरि दर्शन से। शारदा का रूप लेके लक्ष्मी जी भी साथ आई, शारदा का रूप लेके लक्ष्मी जी भी साथ आई। देखी नहीं ऐसी लीला नहीं, देखी रे भाई, देखी नहीं ऐसी लीला नहीं, देखी रे भाई। गोलकधारी नारायण की कैसी लीला वो ही जाने, गोलकधारी नारायण की कैसी लीला वो ही जाने। धारण किया रूप ऐसा कोई न उनको पहचाने, धारण किया रूप ऐसा कोई न उनको पहचाने। लाख वो छुपाए फिर भी बतियाए छुप ना पाए, लाख वो छुपाए फिर भी बतियाए छुप ना पाए। देखी नहीं ऐसी लीला नहीं, देखी रे भाई, देखी नहीं ऐसी लीला नहीं, देखी रे भाई। चंद्रमणि मैया जी के गोद में खेले कान्हाई, चंद्रमणि मैया जी के गोद में खेले कान्हाई। देखी नहीं ऐसी लीला नहीं, देखी रे भाई।
I'm reading from the book The Way to God by Swami Kripamayananda. The chapter is Jnana Yoga, the path of knowledge. In Sri Ramakrishna, the great master, Swami Sharadananda discusses in detail the meaning of Bhavamukha. Bhavamukha is the boundary line between the plane of non-duality and the plane of duality. When Sri Ramakrishna was in the plane of Nirvikalpa, his I disappeared. The world and its living beings no longer existed for him. But when he remained in Bhavamukha, he retained the I. However, it was the vast I, and he saw that he himself was the world and its living beings. He was one with all. He called this state Vijnana. The master would say, after tying the knowledge of oneness in the end of your cloth, do whatever you wish. He himself had done just that. This expression means that we should practice non-duality under our everyday, ordinary circumstances. And that is what the master did. He proved that the principles of Advaita Vedanta can be applied in our daily life. There is no need to give up the world. We can learn to see and accept the world as a manifestation of Brahman. When Swami Vivekananda said that he wanted to bring the Vedanta of the forest into the home, he was simply echoing what he had seen and heard from his master. Sri Ramakrishna regarded himself as one with all creatures and even with the grass, as is seen in one incident at Dakshineshwar. When someone there walked across the grass, the master felt as if someone were walking on his chest, causing him intense pain. On another occasion, when a man in a boat in the middle of the Ganga struck his fellow boatman, red marks appeared on the master's back, as if someone had given him a hard slap. During Sri Ramakrishna's last illness, he stayed at Kashipur, a suburb of Calcutta. There he endured the unbearable pain of throat cancer. Still, his face beamed with joy. It seemed that the disease had no connection with him. He said, "Do you know what I see now? I see my body as a frame made of bamboo strips and covered with a cloth. The frame moves, and it moves because someone dwells inside it." A little later he said, "Now I perceive only this. The indivisible Satchidananda is covered with skin, and this sore is on one side of it." He saw clearly that he was separate from the body. The body suffered, but not he himself. He was not the body. He was the indivisible existence, knowledge, bliss, absolute. The indivisible Satchidananda. I see it both inside and outside. It has merely assumed this sheath, meaning his body, for a support and exists both inside and outside. Then Narendra said to Sri Ramakrishna, "The Divine Mother listens to you. Tell her for our sake to relieve your illness so that you can eat a little." The master forced himself to say those words to Mother Kali. But she replied, "Why? Are you not eating through many mouths? Must you also eat through your own mouth?" Sri Ramakrishna told his disciples, "When I heard those words of Mother, I could not open my mouth for shame." The Upanishads say, "Sarvato shishiro mukham." The Brahman has his eyes, heads and faces everywhere, and Brahma Veda Brahmaiva Bhavati. He who knows the Supreme Brahman verily becomes Brahman. He then sees that all eyes are his eyes, all faces his faces. He encompasses everything. Oneness. Here is
Now a short period of meditation. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Good morning, friends. Welcome to the Sunday service of the Vedanta Society of Toronto. It's a beautiful song, so much of love, and love generates oneness. And the reading from Swami Kripamayananda with reference to Sri Ramakrishna. So today's topic is, let us be one. Oneness is a fact and not mere speculation. When that oneness, which is reality, is not accepted, and we see only difference, varieties, and cannot perceive the underlying oneness, there is suffering in the form of anxiety, worries, distress. All this because of not being able to find that oneness. Sri Krishna says in the Gita, avibhaktam cha bhuteshu vibhaktam eva cha sthitam. The Lord, the reality, the truth, the soul, the Atman, the Brahman, whatever name you give of the reality which is our true nature, is avibhaktam, is inseparable, is non-different, and yet it is among the beings as if separate. Vibhaktam eva, eva means as if we are all separate, we are all different. But in reality we are all one. We are not different, we are not separate. The separation is just the perception. In the language of Advaita, it's hallucination. It is some magic, some misperception of the reality. And it is because of ignorance. And ignorance is not always bliss. Ignorance brings suffering. Lack of knowledge is the source of suffering. That's why in Kathopanishad it is said, Nityo anityanam chetanas chetananam eko bahunam yo vidadhati kaman tamatmastam enu pashyanti dhira tesham shanti shashvatim etaresham. No other being, person, human being can have eternal true peace unless he perceives the real among the unreal perceiving beings, the one among the variety. That has to be perceived. If we want to find real joy, real peace, real happiness as a human being, that is must. And that is the fact. Now we cannot exclude or belittle anybody in the human society. We have to be together in harmony. Then only can we enjoy and find peace in life. At the end of the Rig Veda, when all the recharge mantras were taught, the teacher, the rishi, the seer of truth, what he gives in the commencement speech, he doesn't say meditate on truth. He didn't say earn more and be happy. He says try to be together in harmony with all. May you all be in harmony. Sangachadvam, samvadadvam, samvo manangsi. May you all walk together. May you all speak together. May you all have similar mind. All in harmony. Together here means be in harmony, as if you are all together, you are all relatives. If we read Gospel, Sri Ramakrishna often says to Yam and says to devotees, you are all one, you are all part of reality, part of God. You are not separate, you are like brothers and sisters. That feeling that we are all one, we are all related and related through, in and through God, which is our ultimate nature, real nature. Unless that is there, there is no joy of life. Joy of life is not having all the comforts of life, what Sri Ramakrishna calls creature comforts. Whatever is added, that is not going to give us real joy, real happiness. Money and power and name and fame, these are all rather source of, if they are in too big amount, then you give all your energy in maintaining those, and you forget the reality, forget the oneness. Only difference comes. I am rich and you are poor. And then when that sort of idea of ignorance, of separation comes, there is no real happiness with all the resources of this world that can be provided to us. And the Rishi of Ayurveda also said, Samaniva akuti samana hridayaniva. May your aspiration, akuti, be same. May your heart be same. So that is live in oneness with all. Avibhaktam cha bhuteshu vibhaktam vivacha sthitam. Try to perceive, catch the underlying reality which is your nature. External appearance of manifoldness is not the reality, and that is only appearance. So try to find the water in you who are wave. You are not wave distinct from other waves. You are water, and also other waves are also same water belonging to the same ocean. So now you have come as the wave and you think you are separate from another wave, forgetting the ocean, forgetting the water of which you are made, and you see I am separate and he is separate. I look so nice, I am so big, I am so admired, and then other than a small ripple, that is not even the wave, ha ha ha, we laugh. But the laughter is not going to give us joy because it is based on ignorance and affirmation of the separation without any idea of underlying reality that we are all part of ocean, vast infinite ocean, and we are all made of same element that the ocean is made. We are all water. With that idea, you can perceive the separation, but the idea of underlying reality, that should always be life in us. Then we can live the life as a human being. In Bhagavad Gita, Sri Krishna says, Parasparam bhavayanta shreya paramavapsatha. When you have harmony and you live for each other, parasparam, and then you can be, that is the shreya, that is the best way we can live. To whom we want to be one with. There are many layers that we can feel one. We are separated in so many different layers, different denominations. First, even we are separate from our own ideas. We don't have any particular goal. First, let us be united in our personal goal, that I want in life. I want just to live long or live longer with some purpose. If I want to live long without any purpose, just for living sake, it is like living like a sequoia tree. 200 years it lives, and maybe more than that. But we'll be living like a tree without any real human purpose. So why we want to live longer? There has to be a purpose in our life. And all our actions and thoughts and behavior should be directed towards that purpose. And the highest purpose is, of course, the spiritual purpose, to become spiritually illumined, spiritual unfoldment, to try to know who I am, try to know the Atman. Atmanam vidhi. Know the Atman, says the Vedas. Nothing less than that. Anything else is very little compared to that aspiration of knowing the Atman. And to be one with my aspiration, that main object of my life, what I want to achieve. With that, I can deal with everything in life. So when I want to achieve that oneness of my intention in life, that I want to realize God, I want to see God, I want to know myself, whatever language you say, it is all unfolding your spiritual, innate spirituality that is already there and is covered with the scum. Now removing the scum is the thing. So oneness with ourselves is very important. Sometimes we may think, if we start seeing that our hand and our feet are all separate, then how our existence will be? We have to say that our feet and hand and the ear and the eyes are all meant for us. Then we have to feel the unity of all those different parts, different looking parts with myself, and know that every part of my body is important for me. They all help in my physical existence. If we try to say, oh, this is not important, or that is not right thing, that is the burden, then we are not living in oneness with myself. Beginning of oneness is not there. There is the story of a hare. A hare was being chased by a wolf in the forest. And then somehow it found out and started running fast to save itself. And the wolf was running behind it. Finally, the hare, after a long run, it went and found a crater, and it went there in a grove. And it went inside a hole. And there, and now it was panting and started thinking, oh, how did I save myself? Then it thanked its eyes. Because of eyes, I was saved. I saw the wolf, and not only eyes could not save me, then what saved me is my limbs. My limbs, they were very helpful, muscles, they were helpful, and they saved me, thanks to my limbs. And not only limbs, my ears were also helpful. I could listen to the footstep of the wolf that was chasing me, and I was saved. So he was very thankful to these organs. Then he said, were all organs so helpful? Then he somehow found, no, my tail was useless. It didn't do anything to save me. Rather, it was a burden. If it was not there, I could have ran faster. So it was a burden in my saving my life. So it started hating the tail. So much so that he wanted tail to not be with him in that hole. And it threw out the tail out of the hole. Threw out means it pushed the tail out of hole. And the tail, of course, attached to the body, not separate. And then that wolf was waiting. Wolf caught the tail, which he thought was not important, and dragged the whole hair and had a big meaty feast. So nothing is less important in our own body. In humanity as such, if we see this is not good, that is not right, that should be eliminated, that religion is useless, then that will not be right thing. We don't know. Everything has come into existence by the will of God. Everything has some sequence, some meaning, something is there. If Ravana was not there, would there be Ramayana? Would Rama come and give so much of joy to us to read his life, of his ideal life? Ravana's life was also important. Every incident is important. Everything, every being in the humanity is important. We all are one. We say that being, if that was not there, I would be better. We did not say that. We don't know. All have come by the will of our Father, who loves the whole humanity, who loves me, and He has created everything, all thoughts, ideas, faiths, beings, human beings, the nature, the animals, all are there by His will. So we have to feel oneness and we have to feel the need of everything that is created. When we lose that sense of completeness or wholeness or oneness with all, there comes intolerance. Religious intolerance, linguistic intolerance, racial intolerance, all because of the lack of the feeling of oneness, which is fact, which is reality, which is truth. And we deny the truth. When truth is denied, ignorance creeps in. Ignorance is always brings suffering to us. And when that separateness, unwantedness, unwanting things, and intolerance comes, then it becomes hatred. Bigger thing, intolerance, mature hatred. Hatred can mature into bigotry. That bigotry can become fanaticism. My way alone is good. My language is alone good. My religion is best. All my. Fanatic, and not only that, you have tremendous intolerance for other things, for others' things. So, where that leads, you all know. This intolerance, hatred, bigotry, fanaticism are greater disease than cancer and COVID. They destroy humanity. And if they are not eliminated and cured and removed, they will be like this coronavirus, which is coming in different forms, not going away. We are trying to do that through the help of medical sciences and all the social behavior that has been taught to us. So this whole idea of separateness can bring such a big disease in humanity, which will destroy us. Kuru Vamsa Yadu Vamsa was destroyed. How was it destroyed? Whole clan of Yadus, in which Sri Krishna was born. What a glory of that Vamsa, where Sri Krishna grew up, not born, he was born in Kshatriya, but in Yadu Vamsa, Sri Krishna grew up, and that whole Yadu Vamsa just killed each other and was totally annihilated because of idea of separation, anger, hatred, all that came in them. So that can destroy the thing. Now I said to be one with whom? To be one with ourselves, as I said. So, and the second layer of oneness is to be one with fellow human beings. We have to consider all human beings as our own beings. Color, white, black, brown, yellow, red, all are different shades of us. It is not they, it is not other being. We are all white, somewhere we are white, somewhere we are brown, somewhere we are black. We are that. Feeling of not they are. So it is one that appears as so many varieties of colors. There is underlying unity, there is underlying God, there is underlying self. Myself is there in every other being. Avibhaktam cha bhuteshu vibhaktam iva cha sthitam. In all beings it is undividedly lying, it is residing in all beings undivided, yet it seems to be divided. The seeming divided is ignorance, lying undivided is knowledge. We have to rise from this ignorance of seeing multiplicity only. Seeing multiplicity is no problem. That is the power of Maya, Mahamaya, that is the creation. But if we are unable to see the underlying unity, then that will be a disease, and it will be the disease that will destroy us, the whole humanity, and give me personally lot of fear, worries, anxieties, and lack of peace. Not only with human beings, another layer of unity, oneness is with nature. Sri Krishna says, Avibhaktam cha bhuteshu. Bhuta doesn't mean only human beings. Bhuta means any being, suppose for the nature of living beings. So with nature we are one. Nature is not separate from me. As I have been, this body, mind has been created from the nature. So nature, different things of the nature have been created from the nature. So I am, as far as physical concerned, I am one with nature. This body and other body or other animal or other plant or any other being, other object is not separate from my body. If we go deeper, even the science will say, this chemistry will say they are all made of elements, equally same elements, same molecules will make that. So there is no difference in that. So science proves that, and the spirituality still says it is the same Atman that appears as you, is the same Atman appears as another stone, another hare, another wolf, another tiger. It's same Atman appears as different being. And underlying each Atman is that self, that Sri Krishna, that truth, that God, which remains there without any division. It is one being present in all. Isn't that one being present in parts into all? It looks like parts, it's not part. And Sri Krishna gives beautiful example. How can that be? One being can be in different beings. One truth, one reality, one God. How can it be in different beings? It has to be separated. If you want to give something to 5 persons, a small cake, you have to divide into 5 pieces. So there are at least pieces, and each piece has to be the power of God. No, not even that. It seems like that. And he gives the example of Sutre Mani Gana Iva. like the thread that runs through the beads of pearl, Manigana, one thread that runs through all the beads of the pearl. So, in the garland of pearl. So, one being, one God appears. When it is in me, I think it's only energizing me, my spirit, but my spirit is not separate from other spirit, from your spirit. One being appearing as many. Then oneness with soul. We have the idea of my or I-ness with ego. I is separate from all. But we are not able to feel that ego that we say I, whether it is body or thought or mind or intellect, or it is the soul or the Atman. So I have to find the ego one with the Atman. Ego has no existence. Actually that Atman appears as ego. Atman manifests as ego. And unity between Atman and ego. As Sri Ramakrishna said, Shuddha Atma, Shuddha Buddhi, Shuddha Mon Ek. That if you have pure mind and pure Atman are one. So that oneness, what is ego? Is impure Atman, manifesting an impurity, separating. Why impure? Because it separates. Separation is impurity. So when it becomes one, then it is pure. So trying to find the oneness with the Atman and with the soul, my Jivatma. So trying to manifest as the Jivatma, we are perfect, we are pure, we are not tainted by anything. Trying to feel that way. And oneness with the reality. That reality on which is based this all manifestation, from which it has come, where it rests and where it will go back ultimately. That reality, I am one with that reality, one with Brahman. Aham Atma Brahma, I am Atma Brahma, I am Aham Brahmasmi. That oneness is the final knowledge where we will be one with the reality, the wave understanding that it is one with the ocean. That is the final oneness. How to be that one? How to find ourselves one? Many teachers have said, best is Holy Mothers. Learn to make the whole world your own. No one is a stranger. So we have to learn to become one with everyone. Treating other as ourselves, instead of saying that person is different, separate. Can we have that feeling when we say other? He's also like me, the same child of God, same God, one God, having all so many different children. So he's not separate, he's not unknown. There are some people who can be very friendly with others. They can go and talk and feel they are one. They're the friendly people. So can we be friendly in that way and feel that other? You don't have to even talk and always converse with other person. You may have other reaction from that person may not like. But the important thing is, in your mind, can you feel that we all are one? If we don't have that, someone sits on, you are traveling by plane, someone sits beside your side and feel, oh, this person from this country, this religion, oh, this appearance. And if you feel like that, then you are not with oneness at all. So learn to make the whole world your own. Holy Mother said. Why? No one is a stranger. The whole world is your own. Whole world and all its beings are your own. Little separation is there, not you, but your own. So that idea we can practice in our life and make everyone as my own. In my thought first, goodwill, good thought. That helps a lot in even, that gives you first that gives you peace, and then it will generate that thing is there. When Swami Vivekananda said, sisters and brothers of America, why people stood as one man, the reporters write, whole hall of 6,000 people, that the whole people, 6,000 stood as one human being and started applauding for 2 full minutes. It's a huge time, that's what it is said. So why they appreciated, liked, respected, were overwhelmed with this just introduction. Sisters and brothers of America, what was there in that? What was there was the sense of oneness, sense of belongingness, sense of being true relative to each other that generated from the feeling of Swami Vivekananda in such a powerful mode that it engulfed everyone. Not only Swami Vivekananda felt, but he felt so strongly the oneness with all, as relation, as brothers and sisters, that it touched the hearts of all. And they all felt they're all one with whole audience, and they're all relatives, they're all brothers and sisters, they are not strangers. So many people have come from so many different religions, so many different countries, so many different races, all just felt they are all sisters and brothers. That is the joy of oneness. When we have the feeling of oneness, you can do miracle with that peace and that real idea. You are one step closer to God, to reality. How to have that feeling of oneness? So our scriptures say, perform yajnas. Yajna is try to emphasize the oneness in your life through your attitude and actions. And what are the things? Perform yajna. Why yajna? Pancha Maha Yajna. Practice 5 types of yajna. Yajna is generally homa, havana, yajna, different yaga, yajna we say that way. Offering something to fire, which is supposed to be uniting all, it's supposed to be representative of the supreme reality or God. But yajna is not only offering in fire. Yajna is practice for the sake of some goal towards unity. So, what are the Pancha Mahayajnas? One is Nriyajna, the sacrifice for the humanity. That will lead us oneness towards humanity. How can we sacrifice? What to sacrifice? What does it mean? Nriyajna, sacrifice for humanity. Be connected to humanity. Feel oneness with humanity. How to get connected? One is when you feel somewhere some people suffering, first you can feel that pain in your heart. When Swami Vivekananda rises at 1:30 at night in Belur Math, something happened to many people in some part of the world. Patient, I cannot sleep. Woke up, Swami Vivekananda couldn't sleep. Next day news comes, there was a great earthquake in South America. So that Swami Vivekananda woke up at night in Belur Math. Where is South America? No turbulation, no seismograph here, nothing. But that feeling of oneness, feeling for others. So one first is the feeling for others, suffering, joy, anything. Anything, someone achieves something, some human being, America sends man to human being. Rejoice that human being has achieved that. Not that, oh, America I don't like. Some Russians would say, I don't like US, and Russia and American went before us, and then gloomy face. No, that is not been Nriyajna. Nriyajna will rejoice in the glory of human beings, rejoice at the suffering, then be compassionate at the suffering of human beings, be one with that, first the feeling. Then how can I help? Greater coming yajna. Can you go to them and provide them some relief at the time of their calamity? If not, can you send something that can help procure by some people who are doing some charity, some sending money, sending some objects like clothes or anything, or whatever way. But that requires great feeling in the heart of feeling of oneness, and that feeling of oneness and actions done to manifest that oneness is Nriyajna. Charity, prayer, feeling real pain at the calamity, real joy at the glory of someone human being does. So that is called Nriyajna, sanctified by. That will lead us towards the unity with all mankind. Another is Bhuta Yajna. Bhuta yajna, Bhuta as I said is any manifested thing is Bhuta. Anything that has become is Bhuta. Bhuta comes from the Sanskrit root Bhu. Bhu means to be. What has become is Bhuta. In that way, it's not that ghost is Bhuta as we sometimes say. Ghost is called Bhuta also, it has become something like that. Actually Bhuta is, we are Bhutas, we have become. All animals, plants, trees, stones, Himalayas, sun, moon, all are called Bhutas. So, Bhuta Yajna is for the living beings, particularly here. For animals, you take care, give some food to. When there were uncared for cattle, people used to give some food. Beginning of eating food, first when cooked, they will offer to fire god. So Agnaya Swaha, because it helped us to cook food. Always gratitude for someone, something has done. This all gratitude leads towards the unity or oneness. And little portion Agnaya Swaha. Then start eating, then you do 5 sacrifices, the Pranaya Swaha, Panaya Swaha, all you offer to the vital forces, and seemingly you do outside. Then little of the first morsel you keep for cows, cattle, they were regarded so respectfully. They were given fodder, they will eat, they will not be hungry. But little respect, what you eat, you give that to the cattle. And then you eat, you share with your household, and you look that everyone is getting, not that everything is given to you. And everyone, not only your family, but your family also includes your servants. So are servants getting the thing that you are getting? Everything should be shared. This all comes under, it actually comes under Niriyajna, but Bhuta Yajna will be like dogs and cats to be fed. And at the end, keep something for dogs or something for fish in the pond. Like that, we can think of so many needs and I can share. That's called, becomes Bhuta Yajna. Third one is called Pitri Yajna, sacrifice for our ancestors. What to sacrifice? There is the ritual. They do every year called Shraddha, or remembering your parents and offering some pinda, they call. They give, offer the rice bowls and some water. Annually the father, the day which father died, that day, that tithi, that year, they offer that. That is the ritualistic. It may be done, it may not be done. But remembering our parents and from them what we have learned is a part of Pitri Yajna. And also other Pitri Yajna is, we learn so many things from our father. They give so wonderful knowledge and tips to live a beautiful life in this world. To remember that and practice that. What my father said, don't give trouble to others, don't hurt others. I practice that. Like that, if you could say that we are performing Pitri Yajna, that. And the ancestors. Remembering, being gratitude. What we are today is not because of that myself. I have the genes of my ancestors, my forefathers, like that in our clan. So there are so many glorious people, so many nice people are there. And to live up to their standard, what standard they set, or rather what standard they asked and expect us to be. So that becomes Pitri Yajna. The fourth Yajna is Rishi Yajna. Rishis are the seers who have given up scriptures. The Upanishads have come from the Rishis. They saw the mantras by the divine revelation and they remembered and they passed it on to next generation. For thousands of years it has come. And we are so grateful for the wisdom that we have got. Without that we'll be living a life of an animal. Eating, drinking and be merry. Well, although only eating and drinking you cannot be merry. You have to have some knowledge, some thought, expansion of the heart, being living in oneness. Without that there is no being living in all joy and happiness. But eat, drink and be merry, that would have been our philosophy if we had no approach to the Rishis. So Rishi Yajna is reading those shastras, trying to make those in our life, bring those teachings in our life. Rishi Yajna will also mean that we honor our teacher and our whatever our teacher has said. Teacher can be one who gives us councils in the churches or the temples or wherever, or anyone who has given us something that is valuable for my life. Teacher can be our guru who gave us our mantra and say, repeat this mantra, do this, don't tell lies, don't hurt others. Whatever the teacher said, if eat this, don't eat this, if he has said, can we practice those? We speak the truth, live in the truth, daily remember God, do this worship. If teacher has said, are we able to practice that? Can we sacrifice our other things for what the teacher has asked us to do? That becomes Rishi Yajna. And the final is Deva Yajna, sacrifice to God. And that is being close to God, meditating, praying, enjoying the company of God. Whether meditation is wonderful company, the closest company of God. If meditation is not there, then repeating, then little contemplating the presence of God. Just sit in the shrine and see the photographs of the deities whom you like most, and see He is there present, like that we have Thakur Swamiji, Buddha and Jesus. Instead of seeing these mere photographs, they are really here. They are living here. If we start thinking that way, that will become the Deva Yajna. Being closer to God through any means become Deva Yajna. Slackness, these are the 5 Pancha Mahayajna from the scriptures. Slackness in trying to be one is the cause of our suffering. Worries, anxieties, distress and strife. Swami Vivekananda said, wherever there is ignorance and want of knowledge, all evil comes. And this ignorance is not trying to perceive the underlying oneness in seemingly very manifold varieties of this universe. We have to have that knowledge. And solution is against this problem is faith in equality, in underlying sameness and oneness. In the Upanishad it is said, Yada he vaisha udaram antaram kurute tathatasya bhayam bhavati. Another great thing that gives us anxiety is fear. I didn't describe that. Fear is the one that is the root cause of all anxiety. And when fear comes, this Upanishad says, whenever there is the slightest separation from other, the fear will come. Whenever there is individual separate from the whole, that idea comes, that ignorance, there will be fear. Universe and myself, you and me, whole and I part, it will be separated, fear will come. Slightest separation from the whole, because that is ignorance. Because that is not knowledge. By knowledge we are all one, there is no separation. If we handle the external separation, but can feel the inner underlying oneness, then we can handle it very nicely. But we must feel we are all one. There is, Swami Vivekananda says, there is but one soul throughout the existence. All is but one existence, one soul, one Atma. Aham Brahmasmi. Brahman, there is the whole. And I am that Brahman. My soul is that Brahman. That oneness comes not only in this our awareness of our soul, but in the language that we speak. Different languages, different sounds, different words, but all they tend to merge in oneness. It all is the manifestation of one sound called Shabda Brahman. As the Brahman, Nirakara Brahman, Nirguna Brahman, Sakara Brahman, there is also concept of Sabda Brahman. The Brahman, the ultimate reality manifesting by word. What word? One word. And that word is Om. All our sounds have produced from that Om. And sounds, Oma, Swami Vivekananda in his Bhakti Yoga describes it very nicely, and he says, is the beginning of sound, O is the sound rose, and Ma is the end of sound. That becomes Om. And Om is the root of all sounds that we hear and understand. All languages that we speak is that its root is Om. Om, all Om is the source of all sounds that we hear. Can we think of Om when we hear any sound? Bird chirping, human being singing, people talking, all languages, so different languages, cannot understand any word. So maybe when Totapuri was shedding tears, crying, when he heard Sri Ramakrishna singing songs in Bengali language, which Totapuri didn't understand at all. But he was shedding tears. He must have reached that sense of Om. May not have analyzed, but Om as the source, that gives us joy when we listen to music in different languages, do not understand. Sometimes we don't understand other person's language, but we find the sound coming, and the source of all sound is Om. They are all merged into Omness, or oneness of music. So one reality appears as this manifested, manifold universe. And the very first verse of the Ishopanishad emphasizes that if we can understand that oneness, you are at peace and great joy. Is being one a great sacrifice? Yes. If we want to dwell in our ego, it is a sacrifice. What is sacrifice we do? We lose our individuality. There is no I and you. We often try to say you and compare yourself with me, and always try to put myself in a higher pedestal, ego boosting, lower, then depressed. And that is the cause of that. We don't want to give up that idea of that I am not separate from you. As in the reading, it was beautifully said that Sri Ramakrishna incident when he said to Divine Mother, I want to eat, or the request of Swami Vivekananda, I want to, if I could eat something a little. And Mother said, what are you saying? Are you not eating through so many mouths? Oneness with all, eating with other mouths. We sometimes practice unknowingly. When there is a little food, some nice, and our child is eating, we enjoy giving all food that child if it is going to finish, not keeping anything for myself. Because that time I and my child are one. His eating is as enjoyable as my own eating. Selfishness goes, difference goes, that separation goes. I find oneness with my child and I enjoy that more than if I would have eaten. So that type of thing comes in our own practice we do. We don't expand that feeling of oneness with others. So that we sacrifice. We lose our ego that we think we are that alone. This ego we have held on so strongly, our existence, whole existence as if it is in the ego. If ego is little disturbed, little bruised, little somehow it is try to, what ego idea we have, someone says different about the ego, then we become so angry, disturbed. We want to keep that ego in the glass case, and that is myself, like that. So we have to sacrifice our ego. We lose our privilege when we become oneness. I have to have more than you, or I have that separation. That goes when we feel one with others. So oneness makes us very comfortable when we stand in a queue. We don't say, I have to go fast. You stand in a queue when you are in the car, everything you are very calm and quiet, not disturbed. You don't find that the mistake of other driver that is in front of you. Suppose few seconds the green light has come and he is not going. You start honking. That is the sign of separateness, that is a sign of ignorance, that is a sign of suffering yourself, and you want to make others suffer. When you are patient, you accept, maybe after a few, there is a matter of seconds, 1 second, 2 seconds, 3 seconds maximum, and that will be alert. And that will go and you will follow. So when you cannot stand any other person, any other thing, that is a sign of separation, not being one, and that separation brings us bhaya, fear, some desire, some frustration, and we lose our equanimity. So we have to remain identified with the truth that we are all one. Yet this being one it needs some sacrifice of our ego, of our separation, of our individuality, and yet this sacrifice is worth for the sake of truth, which is of the nature of absolute existence, consciousness, bliss. This existence, consciousness, bliss is described as in 3 words. It's not an existence and consciousness and bliss. It is existence, consciousness, bliss, absolute. That is the reality, that is God, that is our soul, that are we. We are not what ego or our perception about ourselves. I am this rich, I am this height, I am a monk, I am a householder, I am a good person, I am a truthful person. That's all ego. But I am existence, knowledge, bliss, absolute. This truth and untruth and all that just is gone. So that idea of ourself, existence, knowledge, bliss, absolute, and this nature of the true nature, that ultimate joy and true existence, never deviating, changing existence, no death, no creation, no change, no disease. That existence and consciousness, that awareness, that living, that all manifest in this world. We have to manifest. When we realize Satchidananda we are, that Satchidananda manifests in this world as fearlessness. Existence manifested fearlessness. I'm not afraid, I don't care. Oh, you will die, you have cancer, you maybe 6 months more. Doesn't matter. This body will die. What are you saying? I will die. I am Satchidananda, I never die. Fearlessness. That's manifested as Satchidananda, manifested as fearlessness, manifested as knowledge. We want to know knowledge, that underlying reality, knowledge of this secular, the world, knowledge of the spirituality. All knowledge is the manifestation of our true consciousness. And how is the bliss manifested? Bliss is the experience that we have when we are one with Satchidananda, we are one with our true nature. But that bliss is manifested as peace and joy that we've experienced in the world. That is all manifestation of Satchidananda being one. In the scripture, in the Upanishads, in Vedas, it is said, Ekam sad vipra bahudha vadanti. Truth is one. The reality is one. But it is described variously by the sages, by the wise persons. Don't bother for that, because this manifested universe has to have varieties. But all is that one appearing as many. One appears as many. Don't forget what is appearing by focusing on what is appeared. What is appeared is many, but what is appearing is one. Focus on one and just try to be, let us try to be one and enjoy the bliss of our being one with ultimate reality. Let us do it through our practice, through our sadhana, through our vichara, our thoughts, and we will reach that day. One day we will reach and say, yes, I can feel that I am closer to Satchidananda. I feel my oneness with all. So that is the message, that let us be one with the reality. Oh, thank you.